take it to Tuesday, possibly. Right after that, we have a bill, Senate File 34, road type.
Excuse me, I don't even have my mic on. We have our first bill to consider is Senate File 34, roadside safety amendment, sponsored by Senator Barlow. Senator Barlow, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity this morning. I'm going to just be really walk through this as quickly as I can. This is a pretty straightforward bill, Mr. Chairman, and in current statute, wreckers are recognized as having the ability to have certain lighting, both the amber and white, and then also the red and blue. And what this bill does is it extends that to roadside service vehicles and to tire repair, which sometimes the vehicle does multiple vehicle things. And these, of course, are commercial adventures, or they might be vehicles that actually service a particular fleet of vehicles. So it's either a commercial venture or it's an in-house type service truck. So all we're trying to do with this is allow those roadside service vehicles, tire repaired, to have the ability to use those same lighting as a wrecker does. And I think that's it. They do not get, just like wreckers do, on page 3, are not allowed to have the sirens. There is no, so that they're excluded from having sirens, but they can use their amber and white. And then when they're at the scene of a service or an emergency, they can have the red and blue flashing lights. The purpose of this came from a community a company in my community that does this work. And they said, look, when the HP leaves, then we're on the roadside and flashing lights, but not the red and blue that people tend to respect more. So we just try to give them that same ability. The one thing that this bill also does, this is the top of page 2, is it makes the folks these folks have the move over too. It makes the public obligated to do the move over as well. So 3 things: lights, 2 types of lights, and then the move over without the siren. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd be glad to stand for any questions. Hopefully it's just fairly straightforward, and be glad to entertain anything the committee might have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Senator Barlow. Committee, any questions? Senator Kolb.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Barlow, during the explanation of the bill, there was reference made to on-site repairs. My concern is that the time they'll be there. And maybe it was just represented in a way that I heard it incorrectly, but it sounded like they were going to do certain repairs on road, which concerns me greatly because I do not want traffic slowed down because we got somebody doing some sort of on-site repair. So I wondered, and I just kind of came upon me about a time limit for how long they can do this for. I just don't want a situation where someone's doing something that takes hours, where they could do it in the shop. I don't want our roads. This road safety is going to be an issue for speed changes and people on the side of the road because they probably won't know what's going on with the lights on, for sure. Is it an HP or a wreck or whatever? I'm concerned about basically on-site repairs, the time that they've taken place. In other words, what are they going to be doing there? I just don't want them camped out and impeding traffic because they're doing some on-site repair. Like, I don't know what it might be, but the way it sounded when it was being explained is, well, it's going to save, them hauling it into the shop and such. I kind of get that, but I wouldn't want some sort of, carburetor replacement going on the side of the road that blocks the traffic's normal flow for any longer than it really needs to be. And that's what concerns me about this bill. And I guess I'd like to hear what you think about that. And maybe I didn't hear it right, but just your thoughts on the time that they may be there for. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Barlow.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I do appreciate that concern. I think that there are possibilities that things can be repaired along the roadside. Take an oversized load. How do you get that off the road? How do you get it to a different spot? You may have to actually do something on the side of the road where you cannot get away. I'll give you the example I had last week. There was a semi laying across both lanes in 387. I don't know how many hours that took them to deal with, but a loaded semi across a 2-lane road. So you can have the same circumstance with an accident et cetera. So I agree with you. I do not want somebody setting up a roadside shop. I'm just talking about the incidental, hey, it's easier to fix the tire here or fix the, throw in a new set of bearings or whatever than it is to deal with all this other stuff. I agree with you 100%. Certainly Highway Patrol can visit about what they actually see on the road or some of the things that they would actually see. But I agree with you. I don't have any idea. We're not talking about setting up a shingle on the side of the road, period, in my view. If we want to talk about a time limit, I'm just saying that because this already applies to wreckers, we better think carefully about what kind of time limit, because I know that road was closed for several hours, or at least partially closed for several hours, completely closed for maybe an hour and a half, because I was sitting in the traffic. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And I do, it really talks about roadside service and tire repair. It doesn't really talk about other repair, but you never know. So, but I understand. I think maybe the department could probably weigh in on it. So,
Yep. Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman.
Yeah.
Thank you.
okay. Any further questions? Okay, I'll open it up, the department here. Would they like to, here we go. Welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Lieutenant Colonel Carl Germain from the Wyoming Highway Patrol.
Welcome.
So I've reviewed this bill, and before I forget, I just want to make a note that WASCOP has also reviewed it, and Mr. Alan Thompson had relayed to me earlier that they feel this is a bill that would provide safety to the roadside service and tire repair vehicles. When the troopers are out on the side of the road and we come across a disabled vehicle, whether it be a passenger vehicle or a commercial vehicle, we have a number of things that we can do to get that vehicle off the highway. That's always the goal, is to get the vehicle off the highway and the occupants of the vehicle to someplace safe. We can help work with the occupants to maybe get a tire changed or do some small mechanical repairs depending on the skill set of the trooper. But more often than not, we're having to call a wrecker or a service truck. And an example of when we would call the tire repair or the roadside service is going to be perhaps that passenger vehicle is out of gas and the driver doesn't want a tow truck, or they can't afford one, but they can afford to have gas brought out to them. That would be an example of when we would call a service truck. Sometimes for the commercial vehicles, they have complex mechanical issues that you can't tow them given the size of the load if it's a super load. And so in that case, you have to get a service truck out there, and they're limited to what they can do roadside. It's been my observation and my experience that the service trucks can be out there for a little bit of time, but it's nothing that is excessive. That service truck is going to get out there, and if the repairs can't be made a roadside, they're going to start making other arrangements, whether it's to be some kind of a towing mechanism to get the load separated or to get the vehicle off of the highway. In regards to some of the time limits that I've personally observed, that can be a number of different situations, but I would say the longest time that I've seen in that we deal with roadside are going to be for your wrecks. The service trucks usually 1-2 hours on average from what I've seen, and then they're off the side of the highway. The wrecks could be hours, or if not days, depending on what exactly was being hauled in that commercial vehicle. If it's a big load and if it's spilled all over the highway, they're going to be out there trying to clean that up. The other thing that this bill does is it just provides the safety when those people are out there changing the tires or trying to repair these vehicles to get the occupants in that vehicle off the side of the highway. The other night, I was leaving patrol headquarters on I-25, and my shift ended at a 5 p.m. and I get onto I-25 there at the interchange at exit 12. And upon entering the highway, I come across a broken down vehicle. I noticed that there were several vehicle stops, so I pulled over to go check on the occupants, and it was a Wyoming citizen. She had a back rear left tire was blown, and it stopped right by the line. And her husband was on scene. He didn't have the right tools to change it. And then a young man from Colorado stopped, and he had a bunch of tools, a jack and some different wrenches. And what happened was the lug nuts had been stripped on that tire, and they couldn't get the tire off. And so they worked on it for about 15 minutes. And in that case, we had a call for a repair vehicle. But I just throw that out there, maybe for a consideration that it's not just the repair vehicles sometimes that are facing dangerous traffic situations. It's also our citizens in a Wyoming, and they always don't have the protection of the lights that a service truck and a tow truck or a law enforcement vehicle might have. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll stand for any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Lieutenant Colonel Jermaine? Question, Senator Gold?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Morning. What constitutes roadside service vehicle? I mean, couldn't I just put lights up and park my vehicle and call it roadside service? That's really kind of my question. You have an opinion about that?
Mr. Chairman,
Thank you.
Senator Kolb, I don't know if I could necessarily define what would constitute a roadside vehicle from the vantage point of the Highway Patrol. I mean, we do work with the service trucks to get on our rotation, and so if they're meeting the requirements to get on the rotation.
Can I rephrase?
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, let me help out with this a little bit. I'm not talking about those folks. I'm talking about anybody who says I'm doing roadside service, who then would park next to some vehicle. It could be the husband or somebody. What stops them from just saying I'm a roadside service vehicle and displaying lights? That's my concern. So do you, I guess, that's the opinion I'd like to hear, is just where do you think that would be? And do you folks as our troopers work with those folks in those situations? Just kind of what the reality would be on the ground. Thank you, Trooper.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Senator, I don't know if I can answer that question maybe to your full satisfaction, but what I can say is when a trooper comes across a disabled vehicle on the side of the highway, we can call and request a service truck, and the dispatch is going to go through a list and say, hey, we have service trucks that are in this area. Typically, they are associated with some kind of a tire repair shop or AAA or a commercial vehicle diesel and mechanic shop, and these vehicles will often arrive on scene, and they have amber flashing lights. They'll have equipment to do roadside repairs, but as far as what would specifically constitute that, I if they're associated with a repair company or a legitimate company, that officer roadside is going to know that. Now, if a civilian that's not citizen calls a service truck outside of law enforcement, I don't have any oversight of that, or the troopers or the officers on scene or the deputies may not know who that person is.
Senator Barlow?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, and I appreciate the line of thought that my colleagues having. We don't have it for wreckers right now either. Anybody could say I'm towing a car off the vehicle, towing a car off the road, and the same thing could happen. If my wife broke down on the side of the road and I went out there with a tow bar or whatever, I could consider myself a wrecker, and there'd be nothing there as well. Would you say that's fair, Lieutenant Colonel?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Barlow, yeah, yes, I would say that that's an accurate statement.
The second thing I'd follow up, Mr. Chairman, if I could, is well, we're talking to one law enforcement agency here who has obviously jurisdiction on all of our roads. There are many other law enforcement agencies that have this same responsibility. So I don't know if there's a single point for where you would authorize wreckers or service trucks or et cetera, that a SO or a PD would call in to do that. They're going to use whatever local resources they're aware of. Would that also be your understanding? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Barlow, in regards to the Highway Patrol's wrecker rotation, we do have rules and a set of standards that we work with the tow companies in order for them to be on the rotation. They are obviously typically jurisdiction based, geographic based. And so the same thing applies for our municipalities and counties. They work with the local tow companies and service companies in their area. I can't speak though to what their rotations look like or what their criteria is for actually allowing those tow trucks. But it is a team effort between law enforcement, service trucks, and tow companies to get vehicles off the highways and clean crashes up.
Further questions? Further questions, committee? Okay, thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Jermaine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do we have any other public testimony?
Mr. Chairman, if I
Welcome.
may, Kevin Hawley, Wyoming Trucking Association. I know we're under a time crunch, but I'll be quick as a bunny if I can. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. As all of you are probably aware, being on the roadside in Wyoming is a contact sport most times. We have this rule in place, this law in place for our wrecker community, and how many accidents do we have on the side of the road. From the perspective of the Wyoming Truckers and the Trucking Association, voted unanimously to support this bill. It's often dangerous on the side, and the opportunity to have some extra protections. It's sad that we have to legislate, I think, common sense and consideration. But just move over, please. Move over. And if this is one step that helps save some lives when you're on the side of the road, they're there for an hour or two. Trust me, they don't want to be overhauling an engine. Oftentimes it's tire repair. And frankly, when you see the size of the bill for these on-site repairs, if it is something significant, it is cheaper to haul it into the shop and do those repairs. So they want to get in and out. And while they're there, we want them safe. The only, not even a criticism, but areas that we brought up as like, hey, this could be abused. We see it on the wrecker side sometimes, is running those red and blues. They are only on the side of the road when hooking up. It is not for the transport or responding to a scene. So I think that's very important. I know Highway Patrol will be on that. We just want to make sure that it is not abused like it can sometimes be. And the other commitment would be you can pass a law and do all of these things, but if there's ignorance to it in the community and the general public, it doesn't do us any good. So I'd like a commitment, certainly from us at the Trucking Association, but I think our partners at Whiteout and Patrol, just some more advertising and education on the importance of this and moving over, slowing down, and letting these people do their important work so they can get back on the road. So with that, stand for any questions, but supportive of this bill as presented. Thank you for the opportunity.
Committee, questions? Okay, thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Kelly Little. I'm with the Associated General Contractors of Wyoming. AGC stands in support of this bill. Contractors are well aware that the most dangerous place that a person can be is on the side of a highway when traffic's whizzing by at 70 to 80 miles an hour. This bill gives space and visibility to the vehicles or to the professionals that are mentioned in this bill. I will say that I've discussed this legislation with some of our members, and one of our traffic control folks did bring up a good point that when he is responding to the scene of an accident, like Senator Barlow mentioned earlier, where a truck is, across the highway, he's one of the only vehicles out there without lights. And so he does feel like he's exposed more than some of the other responders to that accident. So we do think this is a good start, but maybe this is a continued conversation we can have about the people and the professionals that are on the side of our road that need protection. And do know that this body, it's of utmost importance that our roads are as safe as they can be. And I appreciate the senator bringing this bill and we support it. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Little. Any questions, committee? Thank you, Kelly.
Mr.
Welcome.
Chairman, members of the committee, good morning. My name is Catherine Wilkinson. I am here on behalf of AAA Mountain West Group here in support of the bill. Roadside safety is one of the priorities for AAA here in Wyoming. Tow truck driving is one of the most dangerous jobs in the United States, and tow operators are struck and killed on average every month in the United States. So this job is really about mostly changing tires, giving people the space they need, and then get back on the road safely. So we would stand in support of this bill, and I'd stand for any questions. Thank you.
Okay. Committee questions? No, thank you, Catherine. Okay, any further testimony? And we have no one online, so I'll,
Chairman, I just had one quick question.
sure, go ahead.
Yeah, just the question of what the fine is. If you basically just don't obey the statutory change, what's the fine? And maybe that's probably an HP question.
Maybe,
I'm trying to be with brevity, just to ask. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Lieutenant Colonel Jermaine, could you answer that?
Mr. Chairman, yes, I can. It's $250.
Okay. $250, fine, yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so I'll close public testimony. Committee, what's your pleasure? Okay, it's moved by Senator Cooper, seconded by Senator Anderson. Committee, are there any, I'm not going to go through it. Are there any changes that you want to see? Seeing none, then let's have a roll call.
This is a roll call vote for Senate File 34. Senator Anderson.
Aye.
Senator Barlow.
Aye.
Senator Cooper.
Aye.
Senator Kolb.
No,
Chairman Pappas.
Aye.
4 ayes, 1 no.
Okay, that concludes this bill. And since we are going to be going into caucus in 10 minutes, it probably does not behoove us to continue on into the next bill. So I will notice this bill, Senate File 95, Drivers Motor Vehicle Services Third-Party Providers, for next Tuesday, because I was told that we would probably have some time after our caucus. However, knowing us, I don't want to keep you all around waiting for us, because I don't think we'll be back. So we'll take up this next Tuesday. Senator Barlow, did you have any questions? Okay, so thank you. We'll adjourn this meeting.
That was a vote of confidence. Yeah.